What if the end of the world wasn't the worst thing that could happen to you, but losing the one person who gave you a reason to survive it? 20 years after civilization collapsed, one broken man is asked to protect a girl who might be humanity's last hope. He never wanted the job. He never wanted to feel anything again.
It's a really haunting premise, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. Welcome to Beyond the Plot, where unforgettable stories come to life. Today we're exploring the acclaimed post-apocalyptic saga, The Last of Us Part 1.
And, we're doing a real deep dive into the source material today.
Exactly. Because to be clear to you listening, we're not just like giving you a basic survival recap. We want to really explore this harrowing character drama. It's about grief, found family, and just the terrifying things that love can make us do.
Right, and it's worth noting how this narrative totally changed the way the world views video games. Like, it elevated the medium to prestige television levels.
Yeah, which obviously led to that massive TV adaptation. But I want to throw a question at you right from the start. When we talk about the apocalypse, we usually focus on the monsters.
Oh, absolutely. The zombies, the mutants, whatever.
Right. But here, the real suspense seems to come from this constant, just overhanging threat of losing what little you have left. How does this story flip the traditional survival script so completely?
Well, I think it does it by making the stakes entirely emotional. Like, yes, there are monsters.
Terrifying ones.
Incredibly terrifying ones. But the external threats are really just a pressure cooker for the internal character dynamics. The traditional script asks, how do we stay alive? But this story asks, why bother staying alive if you have absolutely nothing to live for?
Wow, yeah. And to really understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. The outbreak. Summer of 2003.
Right, in Texas.
Yeah, and the sources established this mundane normalcy that is almost uncomfortable to sit through when you know it's coming. Like, it's Joel's birthday. His teenage daughter, Sarah, is just picking up his repaired watch.
It's just a totally normal afternoon.
Right, but there's this creeping dread. Like, the watch repair guy is acting super frantic. He's rushing Sarah out of the shop.
Because of the sirens, right?
Exactly. Police sirens are just wailing in the background. And then she's taking the bus home, and military fighter jets are just tearing through the sky.
It's that peripheral horror, like society's unraveling right on the edges of the frame.
Totally. Even the neighbor's dog is acting
Yes.
weird. It's just staring at the house next door, whining. And that's where this paralyzed old woman lives.
And that night, everything just snaps.
It really does. Sarah wakes up, the TV news is on, there's an explosion on the broadcast, and she goes next door. And she finds that paralyzed old woman who couldn't even walk, sprinting around, covered in blood, basically tearing her husband apart.
She's turned into this bloodthirsty creature.
Yeah. And Joel swoops in, kills the neighbor with a wrench, and they just run.
Yeah.
Him, Sarah, and Joel's brother Tommy. They pile into a truck, and the escape is just pure chaos.
It's not heroic at all. It's blind panic.
Right, there are people screaming. A passenger plane literally falls out of the sky and explodes, causing them to crash. So they're on foot. And Joel is carrying Sarah because she hurt her leg.
And this is where the defining tragedy happens.
Yeah. They get cornered near the highway, and infected runners coming right for them. And suddenly, boom, a soldier shoots the infected.
You think they're saved.
For like 1 second. But the soldier holds them at gunpoint. He gets on his radio, and the voice on the other end orders him to eliminate them because they might be infected.
The soldier actually hesitates, He says, but there's a little girl.
But he follows orders. He opens fire. Tommy shows up and shoots the soldier, but it's too late. The soldier's bullet went right through Joel and hit Sarah. And Joel just has to hold his daughter while she bleeds to death in his arms in the dirt.
It's absolutely devastating. And analytically, this is crucial because it establishes Joel not as an action hero, but as a deeply traumatized father. The real apocalypse for him wasn't the collapse of society.
No, it was right there. It was losing Sarah.
Exactly. And the narrative refuses to let him go of that grief. I mean, think about the watch.
Oh, man, the watch.
During that night, the glass face of the watch gets shattered. It's completely broken. But when the story jumps forward 20 years...
He's still wearing it.
He's still wearing it. It's this physical manifestation of a man who is literally stuck in time. He refuses to heal.
His internal state completely matches the external ruins of the world.
Yeah.
Which brings us to that 20-year time jump. It's now 2033, and things are bleak.
That is putting it mildly.
Seriously, civilization is gone. People live in these quarantine zones, or QZs, run by Fedra, which is basically the remnants of the military acting as a brutal dictatorship.
Martial law, executions for stepping out of line.
Yeah, and food vouchers instead of money. Technology is basically non-existent, like a working car battery is treated like a priceless artifact.
And in this brutal world, Joel is surviving as a smuggler. He's partnered with this woman, Tess. They're ruthless. They operate in the gray area.
They're just doing whatever it takes. And they're hunting down this guy, Robert, because he stole a car battery from them. Joel needs this battery because he wants to find his brother, Tommy, who left the QZ.
So they track Robert down, but he's already dead.
Well, they find out he sold the battery to the Fireflies first, right?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
They track him. Robert tells them he sold it to the Fireflies, and then Tess shoots him.
Classic Tess. And the Fireflies, for you listening, are this resistance group fighting Fedra. So Joel and Tess go looking for the battery, and they run into Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies. And she is badly wounded.
So she makes them a deal, the inciting incident of the whole story.
Exactly. Marlene says, I'll give you your weapons and the battery, but you have to smuggle something out of the QZ. Well, not something. Someone.
A 14-year-old girl named Ellie.
And Joel hates this idea. He's like, no way. He doesn't want to transport a kid.
Because a child represents innocence, vulnerability, emotional connection, everything he's spent 20 years actively trying to suppress.
But Tess talks him into it. So they sneak out at night, into the rain, but they get caught by a Fedra patrol outside the wall.
And this is where everything changes.
The guards force them to their knees and pull out an infection scanner. As the guard goes to scan Ellie, she just snaps and stabs him in the leg with a switchblade.
Complete chaos.
Yeah, Joel has this massive PTSD trigger from when Sarah was shot, so he just tackles the guard and violently beats him to death. But then Tess looks at the scanner that dropped in the mud.
And it's flashing red.
It says Ellie is infected.
Right, and to understand why Joel and Tess are so horrified, we really need to look at the backstory of the cordyceps fungus.
Oh, this part is so fascinating, like the biology of it.
Yeah, in 2013, a mycologist, an expert in fungi, was brought to a flour mill in Jakarta. She looks at a body under a microscope and realizes that the cordyceps fungus, which normally only affects bugs, has mutated to survive in the human body.
And it spreads to the brain, right?
Exactly. It completely takes over the host's mind, turning them into a rabid, violent monster in a matter of hours. And when the military asks this expert for a cure, she basically says there is no cure. You just have to bomb the city.
Which is terrifying. So when Ellie is standing there in the mud, showing them a bite mark on her arm and claiming it's 3 weeks old, it's impossible.
Biologically impossible. A 3-week-old bite should mean she's long gone. But it's completely healed over. She is immune.
And I was thinking about this, like how Joel reacts to her. To the Fireflies, she's a miracle. But to Joel, it's like he just found an unexploded bomb.
That's a great analogy.
Right, he doesn't see a cure. He sees an immediate threat to this emotionally detached wall he's built. She's a dangerous reminder of the child he couldn't save.
He wants nothing to do with her. But they're stuck. Fedra's coming, so they have to push into the ruined, flooded city of Boston.
And the danger out there is just suffocating. They end up in this old, collapsed church. And this is where we get the clickers.
Ugh, the clickers. So creepy.
For you listening, if you're infected long enough, the fungus literally bursts out of your face, blinding you completely. So these things navigate by echolocation. They make these horrific clicking sounds.
And if they grab you, you're dead. Instantly.
So Joel, Tess, and Ellie have to sneak past them in absolute silence. It feels so much dread. But they finally make it to the State House where they were supposed to drop Ellie off.
Only to find the Firefly squad there completely slaughtered.
Yeah, dead. And Joel is like, okay, we're done. Let's go home. But Tess is acting weird. She's frantic. She refuses to give up.
And then comes the devastating reveal.
She pulls back her collar and shows Joel her neck. She was bitten during a fight with the infected on the way there.
Her time is up. She knows it.
But she looks at Ellie's healed arm, and she realizes it's real. So she begs Joel to take Ellie to Tommy in Wyoming. It shifts the whole mission, doesn't it?
Completely. It explores the morality of a world without institutions. Tessa's sacrifice shifts Joel's mission from a selfish smuggling contract into a profound moral obligation. It's his dying partner's last wish.
It's the first crack in his armor. And the visual of her death, military trucks roll up. Tess pours gasoline all over the floor. She tells Joel to run. And as the soldiers break in, she's desperately flicking a lighter.
Buying them time.
Exactly. She chooses a violent death to buy life for a girl she barely knows.
So now, Joel and Ellie are truly alone. And Joel knows they can't walk across the country. They need a vehicle, so he decides to track down an old contact named Bill.
Oh, man, Bill. So they head to this isolated Massachusetts town, and Bill is like the ultimate doomsday prepper, right?
Yeah, he's heavily trapped his entire town. Tripwires, barricades, the works. He isolated himself completely from everyone.
But the sources give us this beautiful, tragic flashback about Bill and a man named Frank. 4 years into the outbreak, Frank falls into one of Bill's traps.
And Bill, despite his paranoia, takes him in.
They share a meal, and there's this incredible scene where Frank sits down at Bill's antique piano and starts playing, and then Bill takes over, playing this deeply sad, beautiful song.
It's a microcosm of their relationship. Frank brings art and life into Bill's sterile survivalist world. They end up falling in love and spending years together.
It's just a beautiful example of found family. But it's the apocalypse, so of course it doesn't last. Frank gets a terminal illness. He's dying.
So instead of letting him suffer, they make a choice.
Yeah, they have one last perfect day. They get dressed up, exchange rings, have a beautiful dinner, and Bill puts a lethal dose of pills into Frank's wine.
But the twist is, Bill drinks it too.
He poisoned his own glass because he says survival is meaningless without Frank. They go to sleep and die together.
And I think it's important to ask here because Bill used to tell Joel that caring for people would get him killed.
Right.
So did Frank's love kill Bill, or did it save him from just existing as a hollow shell?
I mean, I think it saved him. Survival is just existing. Frank gave him a reason to actually live.
Exactly. But the tragic irony is that Joel arrives in the town, finds them dead, and finds a letter Bill left for him.
And Joel completely misses the point of the letter.
He does. He just takes the truck and the battery, and he doubles down on his emotional walls. He tells Ellie, don't talk about your condition, just do what I say.
So they're driving west.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit a roadblock in Kansas City, forcing them to detour into the city streets. And almost immediately, they get ambushed.
By a heavily armed rebel group.
Right, led by this woman, Kathleen. And Joel has to brutally kill several of these guys to protect Ellie. It's the first time Ellie really sees what survival costs.
And what's interesting is Kathleen's motivation. She's not just a raider. She's hunting a specific man named Henry.
Yeah, Joel and Ellie end up bumping into Henry and his little brother, Sam. And they form this uneasy alliance to escape the city through the underground pipelines.
And down in those dark tunnels, Henry confesses the terrible truth about why Kathleen is hunting him.
This part is so morally gray. Henry admits that he betrayed Kathleen's brother, who was the leader of the city's resistance, and handed him over to Fedra to be executed.
But he did it for a reason.
Right. His little brother, Sam, had leukemia. The only way to get the medicine from Fedra was to sell out the resistance leader. He traded a good man's life to save his brother.
It's an act born of pure love, but it has horrific consequences, and it serves as a dark mirror for Joel. It asks you, the listener, how many innocent people would you condemn to save your own family?
It's the ultimate trolley problem. But the worst part is, Henry's sacrifice doesn't even work out. They make it out of the tunnels into the suburbs, but a sniper pins them down.
And then Kathleen's militia swarms them.
It looks like it's over, but then the ground literally collapses.
A massive sinkhole opens up.
And an entire horde of infected pours out of the earth, including this massive, heavily armored variant called a bloater. It's just a bloodbath.
Kathleen gets killed, her militia's wiped out, and Joel, Ellie, Henry, and Sam barely escape to an abandoned motel.
You finally take a breath, thinking they're safe. But that night, Sam reveals to Ellie that he was bitten during the chaos.
Ellie is so naive here, she thinks she can fix it.
She rubs her own immune blood on his wound, hoping it's a cure. But the next morning, Sam has turned. He attacks Ellie.
And Henry wakes up, sees his infected brother attacking Ellie, and in a split second of pure instinct, Henry shoots Sam.
The silence after that gunshot is just, it's heavy. Henry realizes he just killed the only person he loved. He looks at Joel, says, "What did I do?" and then shoots himself.
It's devastating, and for Joel, it just reinforces his belief that caring for anyone leads to unbearable pain.
So they keep moving. Winter sets in, and they finally make it to Jackson, Wyoming. And it's shocking, because Jackson is this functioning electricity-powered settlement.
It's an actual community, and Joel reunites with his brother Tommy.
Yeah, and Tommy is married to Maria, and they've built a life. But Joel is just feeling old and weak. He finds out Tommy is going to be a father.
Which is a huge trigger for Joel.
Exactly. He panics. He tries to force Tommy to take Ellie to the Fireflies in Colorado. He's terrified of failing again.
But Ellie overhears this and runs away.
She steals a horse, and Joel tracks her to this abandoned ranch house. And they have this massive emotional confrontation.
She tells him, "Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me, except for you."
And Joel pushes back so hard. He says, "You are not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad." It's so cruel, but it's pure self-defense.
He's pushing her away because he's starting to love her and he's terrified.
And the visual here is crazy. They're arguing in a perfectly preserved teenage girl's bedroom. And earlier in Jackson, Ellie saw a chalkboard memorial with the name Sarah on it. Sarah's ghost is basically in the room with them.
Right. But Joel reconsiders. The next morning, he decides he's going to finish the job. He takes Ellie from Tommy.
He accepts the responsibility, which makes the next sequence so painful. They ride to the university in Colorado where the Fireflies were supposed to be.
But the campus is empty, just wild monkeys running around.
They find out the Fireflies moved to Salt Lake City. But as they're leaving, they get jumped by a group of robbers. And during a fight, Joel falls off a balcony and gets severely impaled on a piece of rebar.
It's gruesome.
He's bleeding out. Ellie barely manages to get him on the horse, and they escape into a freezing cabin in the woods.
And as Ellie is desperately trying to stitch up Joel's wound, the narrative flashes back.
This flashback is incredible. It takes us back to the Boston QZ 3 weeks before Ellie met Joel. We meet her best friend, Riley.
Right. The Left Behind sequence.
Yeah. Riley sneaks Ellie out of the QZ into an abandoned shopping mall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this magical night. They ride a carousel, play in an arcade, try on Halloween masks.
It's a glimpse of what their childhood should have been.
But then Riley reveals she's leaving with the Fireflies forever. Ellie begs her to stay, and Riley agrees. They're dancing on some glass counters, having this really beautiful moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then the infected attack.
Drawn by the noise of the music.
They fight him off,
Yeah.
but they both get bitten,
And Riley says they should just be poetic and lose our minds together.
which explains Ellie's intense survivor's guilt. I mean, her immunity isn't a gift, it's a curse. She had to watch Riley go mad and die while she just sat there totally fine.
Exactly. So back in the winter cabin, Ellie stitching up Joel is almost like her trying to sew her own fractured life back together. She couldn't save Riley or Tess or Sam, so she is going to save Joel through sheer willpower.
Which brings us to the horrors of winter. Joel is unconscious with a fever. Ellie is hunting for food. She shoots a deer, tracks it, and runs into two men. One of them is a preacher named David.
David is so unsettling.
So unsettling. He trades Ellie penicillin for the deer meat. But while they're waiting, he tells a story. He says some of his men were recently killed by a crazy man and a little girl.
He knows exactly who Ellie is.
He lets her go, but tracks her. His men attack the cabin. Ellie tries to lead them away on horseback, but gets captured. She wakes up in a cage in David's town.
And David tries to recruit her. He plays the benevolent father figure.
But then Ellie looks on the floor and sees a severed human ear. David's starving town has turned to cannibalism to survive the winter.
It's horrifying.
He tells Ellie they're alike, that they both have a natural instinct for violence. But Ellie breaks his finger through the cage and refuses to submit. So David orders his men to chop her up.
Meanwhile, the penicillin works. Joel wakes up.
And Joel goes full Terminator. He catches two of David's men and brutally tortures them to find Ellie. Like, it's not even a fight. He just methodically tortures and executes them.
It really contrasts parental love with David's selfish, predatory love. David views Ellie as property to be consumed. Joel's love is protective, but it unleashes this terrifying violence.
It's a dark parallel. Ellie manages to escape the cage and ends up trapped in a burning restaurant with David. He's stalking her through the flames with a machete.
But Ellie gets the upper hand.
She gets the machete and just hacks him to death. She's screaming, traumatized, totally covered in blood, and then Joel bursts through the doors.
He pulls her off the body, and he holds her, and he calls her baby girl.
The exact same thing he called Sarah.
Yeah, he's fully accepted her as his daughter. But that winter breaks Ellie.
Totally. When spring arrives and they finally get to Salt Lake City, she's so quiet and withdrawn.
She's carrying the weight of everything she did and everyone who died. She tells Joel it can't be for nothing.
They have this beautiful, quiet moment where they find a herd of giraffes grazing in the ruined city. Joel actually suggests they turn back. He says they don't have to do this.
But Ellie insists. She needs the cure to justify the trauma.
But the universe is cruel. They're navigating a flooded tunnel, they get swept away, and Ellie nearly drowns. Joel is giving her CPR on the bank when a Firefly patrol finds them.
They knock Joel out.
Joel wakes up in a hospital room. Marlene is there. The Fireflies made it. But then Marlene drops the bomb.
The medical reality.
Right. She explains that the cordyceps mutated in Ellie's brain. To extract the cure, the doctors have to remove the growth.
Meaning they have to kill Ellie.
It's the ultimate ethical dilemma, sacrificing one for the many. Marlene prioritizes saving the world over the life of one girl she swore to protect.
It's utilitarianism taken to its absolute extreme.
And I have to ask you and the listener, if curing the apocalypse requires murdering an unconscious child, is humanity even worth saving?
That is the big question. Does biological survival justify losing our basic moral humanity?
Joel's answer is a very loud, violent no.
Yeah, he goes on a terrifying rampage.
He slaughters his way through the Firefly guards. He breaches the operating room. The lead surgeon holds up a scalpel, and Joel just shoots him dead. No hesitation.
He unplugs Ellie and carries her down to the parking garage.
Where Marlene is waiting with a gun. She tries to reason with him. She says Ellie would want this, that she'd just grow up to be murdered by infected or scavengers anyway.
And Joel knows Marlene is probably right about what Ellie would want.
But he doesn't care. He shoots Marlene. He puts Ellie in a car. And when Marlene begs for her life, Joel says, "You'd just come after her," and he executes her.
It's incredibly complex. His love is absolute, but it's completely intertwined with violence and deception.
Which brings us to the final scene. They're driving back to Wyoming. Ellie wakes up in the back seat. She asks what happened.
And Joel lies to her face.
He tells her the Fireflies found dozens of immune people, but they couldn't make a cure, so they stopped looking.
A massive, world-altering lie.
Just before they reach Jackson, Ellie stops him. She brings up Riley and Tess and Sam. She looks him in the eye and says, "Swear to me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true."
The tension here is insane. No monsters, no explosions. Just a girl staring at the man who saved her.
And Joel looks back and says, "I swear." Ellie just says, "Okay." And it ends.
It's one of fiction's most debated endings. Does she believe him? I think she knows he's lying. But she accepts the lie to keep their bond intact. She chooses him over the truth.
The Last of Us is just profoundly more than a survival story. It's a terrifying look at how far love can push a person past the line of right and wrong, and whether some truths are worth destroying to protect the ones we love.
I want to leave you with a thought, actually. Building on the biology of the cordyceps, the fungus in Ellie's body acts as a communication compound, tricking other spores into thinking she's already infected, right?
Yeah, that's how the immunity works.
What if Joel's lie functions the exact same way? What if the lie is a necessary artificial field designed to trick her mind into feeling safe from the guilt of survival so she can actually live a life instead of just being a sacrifice?
Oh, wow. That is going to stick with me. That's incredible. You've been listening to Beyond the Plot. If you enjoyed this journey through the ruins of what's left, leave a like and subscribe for more unforgettable stories. Until next time, go beyond the plot.